Namaste everyone. Welcome to Advaita Vedanta Satsang House and welcome to a beautiful Monday. The ongoing sessions are on Bhagavad Gita offered by Bindoji. We are on class number 11. 10 replays and plus an introductory talk are all available on YouTube, Advaita Retold channel or in Clubhouse as replays. I've closed the hand raising and the chat till Bindoji finishes his class, and then we'll open it up for any follow-up discussions. Over to you, Bindoji. Namaste.
Thank you, Prakash. Namaste and welcome to everyone. Let me do the invocation. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashikritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtiveda Vibhagini Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Gita Dhyana Slokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangapadakramo Vanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyandam na viduh sura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. We are into the 13th verse of the second chapter, but we will just do a recap on the 12th verse with the comparison of the other commentaries which are available. When Krishna said that Ashocha Nanya Shochastvam Prajnavadamsha Bhashase, you are crying for those who need to or need not be cried after. And you are talking as if you are a very learned person. Gata Suna Gata Sunsya Nanu Shochanti Pandita. The learned, the Pandita, do not cry over Gata Agata. What is to be, what is going or what is not going. Now for them there is going or there is nothing called going, nothing called not going. So from that point he is now entering into a subject which he wants to teach Arjuna from the standpoint at which Arjuna is currently located with the confusion and, forgetting his own duty. So when he said, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janatipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. He said at no time was there a period where I was not there indeed, nor you, nor these Janatipa. Nor is there going to be in the future a time when the same is valid. That means neither I will not be there, nor you will not be there, nor these Janatipa will not be there. It is not going to happen. So Shankaracharya, when he commented on that, he said that no time I was not there is indeed not. A very involute way of saying that. Indu asam eva, but I was definitely there. Similar to the space within the pots during the pots, what is the space in the pot? The space in the pot appears to have come up when the pot came into existence. And if the pot is destroyed or broken, the space inside the broken pot cannot be said is a space of inside the pot. Nor will there be any utility value, artha kriya kajitam, for that space. So he is saying that it is from the point of view of utility or transaction or the phenomenality, we are saying the pot space. But the space was never contained by the pot, nor does that pot will hold on to the same space even when it is moved. The pot is moving inside the space. The pot body also needs space. It is also holding space inside. It is appearing to be holding the space inside, but not in reality. And when we move pot from one spot to another spot, if there are things inside, that will move. But the space doesn't move. Same way, during the past births and deaths, the body. This body is like a pot. In the consciousness or awareness, they appear to be taking birth and death. Just as the space is permanent, I was also definitely there. The idea is that, like the space being permanent, the consciousness can never have any variation, nor extinction and birth or coming into being. Consciousness or awareness is always there. Or you can say Satchidananda, existence, consciousness and bliss. That is the way in which it is being indicated. Not only that, all of us was also there, and definitely we will be there in the future in the same way. Here the identification is with the self. So when Shankaracharya is identifying the terms aham, he is indicating that Krishna is not referring to Devaki Putra Vasudeva of the physical form he is referring to. Because he is saying the Sharira. So when the names are used here, you should say that aham, tvam, janatipa. The three terms. Aham means I, tvam means you, janatipa means all those people who are assembled there for the war. So when these terms are being used, Krishna is not referring to their physical nature of the body, as per Shankaracharya. He is referring to the self because he is saying that I was there in the past, I will be there in the future. That past and future, he can refer only if he is referring to Atma. He cannot be referring to the physical body, because the next verse is on that. So he is not referring to the physical body. So he says that after the destruction of the body, we will continue to be there at a later time. All of us are permanent in all three times. That is past and future, includes the present also. Right now we are there. Here Atmas are used in plural to indicate that with reference to the appearance of the bodies. That is why he saying that the plurality of the body is taken into consideration for that, not because the self by itself is plural. Same way, just as the space, the parts, the multiple parts will be occupying multiple space. Space is not multiple. So when we say that terminology, the parts will use multiple parts will have multiple space. The space cannot be divided. Yet we will use the term multiple space or multiple rooms. We have space for 3 bedrooms. When we say that, the space is not divided for bedrooms. Space is only one. The bedrooms come up in space. Therefore, there is an appearance of the space which has come up. Same is the case when the body comes up, takes birth. The Atma is now mentioned as Aham by the individual. But the identification is just as the part space. We also say that Aham referring to the body. But the actual Aham or the I which we should be referring to is the awareness within all of us, and consciousness or awareness is not different from one person to another person. The content of the knowledge can vary. The knowledge per se cannot vary, or the awareness per se cannot vary. Now I am bringing here Madhvacharya what he wrote and Ramanuja what he wrote, because I will be doing this for some time to get the direction of their thought process, which I have started in the beginning. Madhvacharya did not comment much on this verse. He just said that, not indeed I alone, since the eternity of Ishvara is not a matter under discussion, he says, not indeed I. By the way of illustration, that is, he is saying that the eternity of Ishvara is not a matter under discussion. Because I, here Krishna, is Ishvara. Narayana himself. So, not indeed I, not indeed I, when he is saying that, is only an illustration, but not to be discussed. Just as I am eternal, as through the well-known aspect in the Vedantas, he is referring to that. So also you, these rulers of men, are eternal. Just as I am eternal, you and these rulers or the men who are ready to fight are all eternal. But he doesn't give any much explanation to his commentary here. He just, it's as good as that, it is not under discussion. That's all what he says. And he says Ishvara is well known in the Vedantas, therefore he is eternal. Because in the Vedantas, Ishvara is, as per Madhvacharya's, this thing is that eternal. Whereas Ramanuja has commented on it in a lengthy manner. But he has used it to negate Shankara. I'll read the translation. I, whom am the Lord of all, did not exist. in the beginninglessness of time, prior to the present. Rather, I did exist. So, I am reading again. I, the Lord of all, did not exist. Means, I did exist in the beginningless time prior to the present. And you, facing me, that means these being ruled or known as the Kshetrajñas or rulers. Here he takes the word Janatipa as Kshetrajña. Did not exist, means rather existed. And I and you, all of us, shall not become non-existent, means will remain existent hereafter in the time subsequent to this. Rather, we shall indeed continue to exist. This he has translated the verse. Now he is giving the commentary here. Just as there is no doubt here that I, the Lord, the Supreme Self, am eternal, so indeed you, who are Kshetrajñas, individual jivas, are also to be regarded as eternal. He didn't say they are eternal, but to be regarded as eternal. Thus, it appears that the Lord himself has stated that the mutual difference between himself, that means the Lord of all, and the individual jivas is real in the ultimate sense. For while teaching the ultimate eternality, paramarthika nityatva, in order to remove ignorance in the deluded, he employs such designation as I, you, and all these of us. Now, understand that he is saying that the Lord is separate. Jiva is separate. But he means the Lord is using, while instructing Arjuna, the terminologies I, you, and all of them, in order to employ such designations as a requirement to remove ignorance in the deluded. Otherwise, he is saying that this appearance of mutual difference between himself and the others is for teaching ultimate purpose. But his usage of these definitions separately is showing that there is the Lord which is independent. Now, let us look at the next para where he says that, for if one were to hold a doctrine of difference among themselves as merely due to the limiting adjunct upadhis, then since the differences of selves would be unreal, the indication of difference at the time of imparting knowledge of reality would not be appropriate. That is, if one were to uphold the differences among the selves, Atma, here selves means Atma, difference among the Atma, as merely due to limiting adjuncts, due to the Upadhi or the Deha, then since the difference of the selves would be unreal, the indication of differences at the time of imparting knowledge of reality would not be appropriate. So, if that is means he says that would be the differences should be real, then only at the time of imparting knowledge, the reality will be taught appropriately. That the differences of self spoken by the Lord is intrinsic is also declared by the Shruti. He is quoting the Shruti, Ch02-07 Upanishad, to prove that it is a valid pramana or valid means of knowledge. He is quoting 6.13 of Ch02-07 Upanishad, saying that Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetanam Anekaha Bahunam Ya Vidadati Kaman Tat Karanam Sankhya Yogadigamyam Jnatva Devam Muchyate Sarva Pashaihi. The eternal among us, eternal, that is Nityanam Nityam, conscious among the consciousness, Chetananam, Echa, Chetananam, the one, Ekaha, who fulfills the desires of the many, Bahunam Yo Vidadadi Kaman. The meaning is that among that eternal conscious being, there is one consciousness which is eternal being who provides the objects of desires for the others. On the other hand, if one maintains that the perception of difference is produced by ignorance, he is now referring to Shankaracharya, then upon the realization of the true nature of the Supreme Person, who is in reality attributeless, immutable, eternal consciousness, ignorance and its effects would be destroyed. Consequently, the perception of the difference born of ignorance and the instructional and other activities grounded upon it would not be possible. That means once the Supreme Person and others' differences, Veda, that is what it is referring to, is if the Supreme Person is attributeless, immutable and eternal. And if ignorance is the reason for the difference, when you know about the Supreme Person, the ignorance and its effects would be destroyed. Then there won't be no separation between the Supreme Person and the rest. When this perception of ignorance is gone, the instruction and other activities grounded upon will not be possible. There cannot be a guru and shishya once that ignorance is gone. This is what he is disputing. If it be said that this cognition of difference is merely a continuation after sublation, that is Bhadida Anuvritti, which Shankaracharya says that it's a Bhadida Anuvritti, like the appearance of a burnt cloth and therefore not binding, this too is untenable. That is what Shankaracharya says. Dagda Pada Nyaya, that is the burnt cloth. After burning also it will appear to be cloth until you touch it. So seeing that it is not binding, this teaching is only what you call Bhadida Anuvritti, that is only an appearance after Jnana Utpatti, or that knowledge has taken place, like the burnt cloth. This will be untenable, because even though the cognition of a mirage water continues after knowing, it does not become a cause for activities such as drawing water, etc. Why he is saying that Bhadida Anuvritti? In the Advaita, it is said that like the mirage water, the appearance of water will continue, but there will be no desire to drink water of that appearance. Similarly here, even if cognition of the difference continues after the sublated non-dual knowledge, since it is ascertained to have a false object, it cannot cause for instruction or activity. So here he is taking out that if cognition of difference continues after being sublated, means after having got the knowledge by non-dual knowledge, when there is non-duality, that is advitiyam. Since it has ascertained to have a false object, so the object was never there, separate. Then when it was not there and ignorance has removed even the appearance which is there without creating any desire for that appearance, it cannot cause instruction or activity. There cannot be any activity from this. That means after this knowledge has risen, there will not be any continuity in the teaching or the Vedas or the Upanishad, and that method of the Upanishad becoming useful for knowledge will be questioned or can be untenable. Nor can it be said that the Lord was previously ignorant and that his cognition of reality has been sublated with residual continuation through scriptural knowledge. For this would contract the Shruti and Smriti as well. So he is saying that if you answer the Lord was previously ignorant, which nobody has said, and his cognition of reality has been sublated with residual continuation through scriptural knowledge, through the Shastra Pramana, that ignorance have been removed, that will contradict Shruti, because Shruti itself says Sarvajna Sarvavit in the Mundago Upanishad. And in the Ch02-07 Upanishad it says, Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, na tat samaha cha abhyadikascha drishyate, parasya shaktir vividatau shruyate swabhaviki jnana balakriya. Tasya karyam karanam cha na vidyate, tat samaha abhyadikaha na cha drishyate, asya parashakti eva vidita jnana balakriya swabhaviki cha shruyate. That is, tasya means of God or gods. Karyam karanam cha na vidyate. Need not do anything, neither has he any organ for doing. Because in this Upanishad it has said in the earlier, Apanipado javano grahida pasyatta chachukchat shrunotya karna. So that is what is being referred here. Tat samaha. There is in Tat samaha abhyatikaha cha na drishyate. There is none greater than him, nor do we see any that is equal to his. Asya parashakti, his power is far over than all. Eva vidita shruyate, under the 1,000 names, only men hear of it. Jnana balakriya, the strength of him and his works and his knowledge are self-sufficient and their own cause of nature, swabhaviki. And he is also quoting the Bhagavad Gita, 7:26. Vedaham samiti tatani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu veda na shakyate. Nama veda na kaschana. I know the beings of the past, present and future, O Arjuna, but no one knows me, is the Bhagavad Gita verse. Moreover, it must be explained when the Supreme Person and the present Guru tradition abide in the ascertainment of the non-dual nature of the self, even if the cognition of the difference continues, to whom is the non-dual self knowledge confirming to that ascertainment being taught? So he is asking that for whom is the non-dual self and for whom is the teaching. If it is to be said that to those such as Arjuna who appear like reflections, this is to refute the Pratibimbavada. This too is untenable. For no sane person, knowing the reflections of his own self appearing in jewels, swords, mirror, or any reflecting surface, the like to be non-different from himself, instructs those reflections for any purpose whatsoever. So the Guru sees his self in all. So that is, there is no purpose for such a Guru to teach. How can he teach when he is a knowledgeable person and he is seeing himself reflected in the Shishyas? Then what is the purpose of teaching? Because he will not seeing difference. And if he is a knowledgeable person, he knows that reflection, he has gained the knowledge. So the reflections in the Shishyas also have gained the knowledge. So there won't be any continuity of teaching. Nor can residual continuation be ascertained by them either. Since by the sublation, non-dual knowledge of the self, ignorance and the like, the cause of cognition of the difference distinct from the self would have been destroyed. In cases like the perception of two moons, however, the residual continuation is reasonable, because even after knowing the moon to be one, the real defects such as the eye disease or the darkness, which causes the perception of two moons, is not destroyed. And even that residual appearance, being sublated by a powerful means of knowledge, is ineffectual. Here he is giving the example of Dvitiya Chandra, the Dvichandra. Due to cataract, when we see two moon, he is saying that by knowledge, the appearance of the second moon is sublated, but is ineffective, because the knowledge doesn't remove the second moon. The second moon will continue to appear as long as the cataract or the defect in the eye is there. So there is no purpose in the teaching also. So that example is also not valid as per him. Here, however, since the cognition of difference together with the subject and object is unreal and is destroyed by knowledge of the true nature of reality, residual continuation is not possible in any manner whatsoever. So he is finally concluding that there is no way we can have a Guru Shishya continuation of tradition if we accept non-dual philosophy. Therefore, if the Lord of all and the present Guru tradition possesses knowledge of reality, the perception of difference and the instructional activities arising from it will become impossible. If on the other hand the perception of difference exists, then ignorance, its cause, must still persist, and being ignorant, the instruction is all the more impossible. As long as the instruction, the difference is maintained, the ignorance also will continue, so there cannot be any teaching also possible, because the separation is due to ignorance, is what as the Advaita is saying. Further, since the ignorance together with its effects is destroyed by the Guru's knowledge of the non-dual self, instruction to the disciple would be purposeless. If it be said that the Guru and the knowledge are imagined, then the disciple and his knowledge would also be imaginary in nature. And thus, that the knowledge too would be incapable of sublating ignorance. Under circumstances, the knowledge cannot remove the ignorance, because it's all imagined. If it be argued that even an imagined cognition can sublate ignorance because it contradicts the prior error, the same would apply equally to the teacher's knowledge. That alone would suffice as the sublating factor, rendering the instructions meaningless. If the guru becomes knowledgeable, then there is no need of continuation of the sublating factor or the knowledge requirement for the shishyas. And therefore the instruction or the teaching methodology of the tradition of Guru Shishya Parambara becomes meaningless. Thus these improper doctrines have been refuted and the matter is concluded as per Ramanuja. Since it is all concluded, there is no way we can proceed with non-dual knowledge as the final acceptance for the purpose of the purpose of teaching in the Bhagavad Gita. So he is saying Bhagavad Gita is not a non-dual book or a speech meant for non-dual. This is Ramanuja's stand. Abhinava Gupta has not commented on this. He has just left this, but he has done 13 and 14 together in the 13th verse. So let us look into the 13th verse now. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tada dehandara prapti dhira tastrana muhyati. The prose order will be yada dehinaha asmin dehe means just as dehinaha means those who are with the deha. That means the jivatma. Asmin dehe, in this body, kaumaram yauvanam jara. Tadacha jara bhavati. In this body, the childhood, transformation to youth, to transformation to old age is happening. Tada dehandara prapti bhavati. Tatra dhira na muhyati. In the same fashion, dehandara prapti means changing bodies also. Just as childhood body has left, you have taken a youth body, and you have left the youth body and taken an old body, and you throw out the old body and takes another child body. This is a continuation, and the one wise man, dhiraha, dhimantaha, tatra dhira na muhyanti. He doesn't get deluded by this. So, Shankaracharya's commentary is like this. Dehaha asya asti iti dehi. One who has the body is dehi. Tasya dehino dehavataha atmanaha. Of that embodied self. Asmin vartamane dehe. In this man, just as in this present body, yada yena prakarena, just as in this fashion, kaumaram, kumara bhavaha, balyavastha, means the childhood, the boyhood or the childhood. Yauvanam, yuno bhava, madhyamavastha, the middle age or the youth, which is the state of being young to middle age state. Jara, vayohani, jirnavastha, ityetaha, tisraha avastha. Youth, old age means advancement of age and state of degeneration of the body. In this manner, these three states are mutually distinct. Anyonya vilakshanaha. avastha anyonya vilakshanaha. They are all mutually exclusive and different. The childhood body is not that of the middle age and the youth. Is different from that of the old age. Tasam prathama avastha nashe na nashaha. Dvitiya upajane na upajana atmana. In them, when there is a destruction or disappearance of the first state, there is no destruction of the Atma. And when the second state is born, there is no birth for the self. Atma is the knower, the Sakshi, for the childhood, transferring to adulthood, to transferring to the old age. Tada tadvadeva dehat anyo dehandaram. Tasya prapti dehandara prapti. Avikriyasya eva atmana ityartha. Similarly, the attainment of another body, that is loss of the current body after the old age, or the last modification of the current body, happens for the changeless Atma alone. The body is the one which is changing. The witnessed Atma is not going through any change. Dhiraha dhiman tatra evam sati na muhyati na moham apadyate. That being the methodology or knowing the reason for that, a wise person is not confused or not deluded with regard to birth and death of the body. So with the death and birth of the body, the witness, Sakshi of the body, doesn't have any birth and death. The childhood death has given rise to the birth of the adulthood. The death of adulthood has given rise to the old age. And the death of old age gives rise to another childhood. So this continues, the Atma is Nitya. That is what Shankaracharya is saying that. Madhvacharya is given a detailed commentary here. If it is argued that that means the soul's existence, is unproven because it depends on the embodied one existing, the reply or my reply is no. Because the embodied one exists in the body. That is, just as the embodied soul is proven to be the witness, even when the body changes from childhood, etc., so too it remains the witness when the obtaining another body. For inert body cannot experience childhood, as is seen from a dead body. A dead body has no experience due to the departure or arrival of the prana or the vital force. If it is argued that this is proven from the experiences like that I am human, my reply is no. Because even when the body remains unchanged, as in the case in the deep sleep, etc., the particular forms of knowledge are not present or observed. Because in the deep sleep, you don't know that you are a human being. But body is remaining unchanged. So, how do you say that I am not a human being? The identification of the self with the body is equal with the mind. And the body is like the wood, etc., inert, jadaha. This is also from the scripture. And the scripture has authority like perception, etc., not like Buddhist texts, which is because it is apaurasheya. Because in that which is apaurasheya, authorless human craft created a defects like ignorance cannot be imputed. And without accepting that some statement is authorless, dharma and other universally accepted principles cannot be established. So he is saying that the apaurishaya aspect, it is not like the Buddhist sects, because Buddhist sects do not accept apaurishayatva. If it is made by human, created, it will have defects like ignorance, everything contaminated in the Shruti. That is not the case. And without accepting the same, some statement is authorless. Dharma and other universally accepted principle cannot be established. So here he is saying that it has to be that some statement is authorless. Then only we can accept the Dharma and other universally accepted principles can be accepted. On those who reject the scripture, he says that one who does not accept these two, that the body and the soul, is not a valid participant in debate. So he is refuting the Buddhist here. Due to the lack of purpose, then if the body and the soul is not there, for whom is the argument or the study or the purpose of knowledge, etc.? If it is said that let there be no dharma to be investigated, my reply is no. Because what is universally accepted cannot be negated without evidence. If it is said that there is no proof for what is established, again my reply is no, because the universal acceptance itself is the proof of, otherwise all verbal communication would be impossible. So he says that the Buddhist methodology of apaurishaya refusal cannot be accepted. It cannot be known by you, I have heard the Veda, without accepting the pramana. Otherwise, there would be a counter argument, or you would be deluded, or you would be it would be the cause for all suffering, or one would differ from another. If there is no faith in the Vedas, these are the errors which Madhvacharya is seeing. There will be counter argument, or you will be deluded, or because if you are not following the Dharma and everything, there will be cause of all suffering, and one would differ from another. And if Dharma Pramana is authored, there would be suspicion of defects like ignorance in the author. If Dharma Pramana is authored, is a human made, there would be suspicion of defects in the ignorance of the author. Nor it is faultless to establish by own statement. Nor is something declared authorless by just anyone equal to the authoritative statement. Because Veda's authorlessness is established through acceptance from beginningless of time, anadi. Therefore, apaurishayatvam is due to the anadi, Veda is beginningless. So their conclusion is, scripture has the authority, therefore the wise person is not confused by false reasoning, one way or interpreting or the other way. Grief arises expecting either the destruction of the life or the destruction of the body. Krishna says, Natu eva, never indeed, to show that not the destruction of the life due to the soul's eternality, nor grief for the destruction of the body, as he says, Dehino, means that Dehin is a word for the one who is owning the body of embodiment. Just as there is no grief when a childhood body is lost and old age, etc., is attained, similarly, when the old body is lost, another body is obtained, there would be no grief. And now Ramanuja says that just as one residing in single body having abandoned the state of childhood, attained the state of youth, and does not grieve, thinking that as the self is destroyed, due to having a firm understanding about the self. In the same way, even when going from one body to another body, the wise person who has a steady understanding of that the self is stable, eternal, does not grieve. Therefore, because of the eternality of the self is not the cause for the grief. Then what is to be done? This much is to be done here for the eternal selves who, through the force of beginningless karma, have been touched by the bodies appropriate for their particular karmas, for those performing scriptural duties appropriate to their varnas, etc., such as warfare, without attachment to the result, for the sake of liberation from the bondage through the very bodies, the contacts of the senses, which produce pleasures and pains caused by the cold, heat, etc., being unavoidable, must be endured until the completion of the scriptural duties. So he is taking the part from the next sloka also to complete the meaning as what is to be done. Krishna says this very meaning immediately in the next verse. That's what he says. So Abhinava Gupta makes a small comment here, including the three verses. Indeed, there was never a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor these kings, and even if there is a change in the form, if that is the cause of grief, then why do we not grieve when childhood transitions to youth? The wise person does not grieve, and the steadiness, dhairya, is easily attained by the one who has no attachment to the body, therefore seeks steadiness. Here dhira, one says that one who is steady in the mind. Yadyapi atma avinashi nimittaha mohaha na sambhavati nitya atma iti vijanataha tatapi shitoshna sukha dukkha prapti nimitto moho laukiko drishyate. Sukha viyoga nimittau moha dukkha samyoga nimittascha shokaha ityetat arjuna sya vachanam akanksha bhagavan aha. The next verse. Even the meaning is that even though delusion caused by the thought of the destruction of the self is not possible for the person who knows this manner, that Atma is eternal, still confusion, delusion caused by the attainment of the feeling of the hot, cold, joy, sorrow, etc. is seen. Sorrow is caused by the separation from comfort and association with discomfort, which is well known in the world, is seen. Suspecting Arjuna's words in this manner, Krishna is going to the next verse, which we will take it in the next class. Matra sparshe sukaundeya sitoshna sukadukkhada agama apayino nityas tantidishasya bharata. So, I'm just bringing these comparisons to get an idea where they differ, but at the same time they are refuting some aspects of Advaita also. So that once you are clear about, you want to stick to which one, Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, or Kashmiri Shaivism, you can proceed in that direction. Because the books are available, it's on the internet available, we can read that. But I will, after comparison, this one initially, I will be switching on to Shankara Bhashya only. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Bindoji. I've opened the chat and hand raising for any follow-up discussions with Bindoji.
Namaste.
Bindoji. I think today, you brought a nice expansion to the understanding, bring Ramanuja, especially. Madhva understood, not much of the commentary given. This Bheda Bheda, right? That separation still exists with the ultimate all-providing Narayana and the Jivatma. That separation is kept. Binduji, is this sort of, because anything can be analyzed in 3 dimensions, right? Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, and Adhyatmika. The Ramanuja is standing on Adi Daivika, while the Daiva is seen and the experience is used as a means to, that Sankhya is applied only to the Jivatma, never shifted out. Because they're standing on their ground, because they're not letting go of that experiential world. Because even though with knowledge, experiential world is not, that double, seeing the double due to defect of the eye, is not going anyway. Even the knowledge is not changing that experience anyway, is the standing, right? That Adi Daivika and Adi Adhyatmika, this separation continue to exist between these 2 teachers. Hence, they just stood their ground. That's about it, right, Binoji?
You can say that what you have said is acceptable from, the understanding what if we do a Adi Devika, Adi Bhaudika, Adhyatma comparison. But we are forgetting one thing. When we look at the instructions, the commentaries the philosophers have used to establish their philosophy. But if we look at Krishna, he didn't have any philosophy to establish. He has said something. So, should we get what you call contaminated or conditioned by any philosophy, or should we look from Krishna's point of view? Is that my question is. Because if we go from the point of view of any philosophy, whether it is Shankara, Madhva, Ramanuja, Aurobindo, or Abhinavagupta, or that matter, there have been 18 Sanskrit commentaries, well known for its commentaries. So there are 18 ways in which they have depicted it, the same verse. So one person who is reading all the 18, he is reading the philosophies for understanding the philosophy, but not understanding what Krishna wanted you to know. My request to Venkat, you and those who are listening is that we should see what Krishna is talking to us. Here, Krishna is our own Atma. Because we are not in the war, in the Kurukshetra, nor are we Arjunas. But the statement of Krishna is valid even for us. He is not talking about the Kurukshetra war there. He is talking about deha, dehi, nitya, nityatvam of experiences, even when the childhood to age taking place to next body, etc. There is something which is there before, which is there late after, which is present now also. So when he is talking something like that to us, we should look from our point of view. If we identify with our physical body, his statement that the childhood to age, middle age to a old age is something you and I have experienced. We cannot deny it. And when he said that, what was there when you were in childhood and what was there going to be there when you are in the old age, they are eternal in the sense that they are eternal because you remained there and that you is now here and you will be seeing the old age also. So when that is being mentioned to us, we should understand that he is referring not to the physical body, but to you and me. What is that you and me? We don't know right now. I agree with you. We don't know what we are. But when Krishna is going to develop us stage by stage that knowledge, should we practically get conditioned by anybody's particular philosophy? Because there was a Vegrada or a adamancy among all the teachers to establish my philosophy is right. I am not saying that they are right or wrong. It is not my interest to say who is right or wrong. There is nobody right, nobody wrong. Or everybody is right, everybody is wrong also. That way, it can be proved that, where you are right, where you are wrong. We are not here to prove right and wrong. We should be looking for getting benefited out of the teaching. And that purpose, you should listen to yourself. When did I lose myself? Did I at any point lose myself, even though when I change from childhood to the middle age or to the old age? So what is that the words of Krishna is indicating? That Sakshi, the witness part of it. Who is aware of the changes? We do not know who is that. But you and I know that we have witnessed the change, but we do not know who we are. So as the verses or the statements of Krishna progresses, we also have to understand it from that point of view and progress. If you need, I can take the commentaries and go along with the commentaries. Otherwise, I can read the verses and explain the verses without any commentaries. That is also possible. The literal meaning of the verses and letting you to decipher the meaning of those verses.
Sure, Vinodji. I think the commentaries sure will help expand on that contemplation. Of high use, no doubt. I will stick to your instruction is very good. What Krishna is saying is the primary intent. That has to be applied, within. There are two contexts arising here. One is, dehinosmin yata dehe, that's perfect for applying to yourself to check it out. At the same time, Krishna is saying, in a way that, that natve vaham jatum nasam natve name janadi, that I was never, as if that I never was there, right? I was always there. and all this, kings. And, it's not that they will never come and go. The life continues. I was always there. He's also giving that guru dimension. He's giving two dimensions. One is to apply. One is to understand as a guru. The two dimensions arising. Treating Krishna as a guru and treating that application. There are two dimensions to be balanced here. How do you see this need to be applied in the remaining, your walkthrough of all the verses going forward? What is the mode of accepting the teaching and applying? What is the mode? Is it Krishna as a Jagat Guru?
Yes.
And there are two modes arising here, Binduji. How do you want to take it forward?
Each step, Krishna is hand-holding us. That hand-holding while teaching, the teaching what is being done, you should see it as our own Atma talking at us. Because when he said that, Natu aham, natvam, na ime jana, janatipa. So, this aham, which Krishna said to himself, when he said tvam, in that tvam also you have an aham. Krishna is talking to that tvam, Arjuna, knowing well that Arjuna is also having the knowledge about the aham, but doesn't know that he is identifying with his body. Same way, the Janatipa, each one of them also has the knowledge of the I in them as aham, but their identification with the body as the Janatipas. So when he said, we should not take that Krishna alone was eternal, or Krishna alone is going to be eternal. That is to deny that. That is why he said that not only that, even you and this Janatipa also are eternal. Knowing very well that Arjuna will now continue to look at that. If they are going to be eternal, what is this war going to do? Is this war will be an eternal war? Because nobody is going to die. So the war has to be eternal. But that is not going to be the case. Arjuna knows very well that there will be an end to the war because either I will be killed or I will be killing my enemies. So the word Janatipa, when he is used, it is to remind that they are all kings with their duties to perform, who can kill you if you don't kill them. That is the message also Krishna is giving to them, Arjuna in that one. So when we look at that thing, there is a lot of meaning one can arrive at from each of the statement of Krishna. That is why, just by going the commentary, we are restricting our opening of the verse for the entirety of its meaning. Each verse should be analyzed and studied multiple ways. I'm not saying that you should not stick to any commentary. As you said, rightly said, it gives us a direction. But more than that, we need to analyze it, why each word has got its own pregnant meaning, which we should look into when Krishna is saying that. So that is why the reason why I said you should look from Krishna's advice point of as a teaching. Application which you're saying is applicable only if you can do the complete analysis of a verse. Because Krishna doesn't analyze the verses. He is giving a statement. It is for us to analyze the statement. That once you are doing it, that is the time when the application is really happening in you. That is what is called the Shravana Manana.
Srimad, this helps a lot. Now, maybe my final question. The Guru, the devotion to the Guru as Krishna as a Guru, and give that full, I think, emotionally, thoughtfully, then when it occupies you, the whole verse occupies you, then only this is possible. That attitude has to be given the primary importance. Hence, there is progress possible. The Guru and the Shishya acceptance has a huge role here. What is the approach in here? Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, all that need to be surrendered to the teaching. It's going there. Then only progress possible. Complete digestion is possible. Look like this.
Right. You are perfect in your analysis, Venkat. That approach, that the words of Krishna is from the Jagat Guru. That approach is what makes us to do the Shravana and Manana. That's his statement. Krishna cannot comment like Arjuna, Shankaracharya or Madhavacharya or Ramanuja or anybody for that matter. His statement is a statement pregnant with information, knowledge and practicality. We need to decipher that according to our state. Even though he is mentioned, he is talking this to Arjuna. Each one of us are in different Arjuna state, not the same state of Arjuna. The names can be varied. That is why it is Arjuna, it's Venkat, or Srinivas, or Bharat, or anybody for that matter. We all are in different stages of that predicament. So when the statement or advice comes from a Jagat Guru, the devotion with which we take it, not putting that, he is like the Father in heaven, which is being taught, unapproachable, everything. No. He is with us, among us, inside us. That is why when he comes to the statement, Dhamayan Sarvabhutani Yandrarudani Mayaya, when he said he is the one, he is functioning in every creation, from the iota, atom onwards, or the smallest ones, to the Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. That is where he is present in everything. So we have to see that the Jagat Guru is present in everything. That is when the Sarvatma Bhava will also dawn on us. He is not addressing to you, me alone. He is addressing to everyone in every generation. That is why still Bhagavad Gita is studied and being utilized by people as pocket book for an encyclopedia for their guidance. And it will continue as long as humanity is there.
This helps shift the mode of processing. Thanks for shifting it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat. Prakash, I don't think anybody is.
I was just wondering if anybody else is coming up.
I don't think anybody is there.
Okay. Then I'll close the session. Thank you, everyone, for attending the session, and thank you, Bindoji, for offering us this deep insight into the instructions of Gita from 3 different perspectives. That's a very profound deep dive. Thank you very much. We will resume tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. IST for the session number 12. Have a good evening. Thank you. Over to you, Binduji.
Thank you, Prakash. We'll meet again and continue with the next verses onwards in the similar fashion. See you all tomorrow. Hari Om. Good night.
Good night. Hari Om.